In our case, Ghanaians sometimes do not want the truth.
See, when you say such things, it's as if you say Ghanaians that we are stupid. And this is the mistake the NDC did, and we throw them out. And you're doing the same thing.
Last time you said it, that without loyalty, no political party will come into his enemies into office.
I see.
If we're going to kill it, we should let people realize that certain things are not acceptable anymore.
How would you kill it?
But you have agreed at this point that assuming that there's no merit in whatever is brought, the person could kill it.
They didn't get a second term. They were sacked from office.
Thank you very much for being part of this program. I'm sure that it hasn't just been the newspaper, but it has been the subject matter of, as it were, commentary.
Well, I'm privileged on the Easter Friday to be here, as usual, to do the press review of issues that made headlines in the course of the week. And I'm sure you want to catch me, as it were, on YouTube as Ghana Broadcasting Corporation, Facebook Ghana Broadcasting Corporation 2, online at gbcghana.com if you want to come through that path. And with me this morning to ensure that this discussion is actually executed, I have with me Koku Nanigbe, who is also an NDCM member and a communication team, as it were, person who does a lot of communication for them, and William Dokpo, member PPP communication team, and as usual, Mr. Sakasalia, who is the MPP member communication team. So, gentlemen, you are welcome. This is Easter Friday, and I'm sure that things will be done soberly to reflect the fact that our Lord Jesus Christ is going to the cross today, and we'll find him resurrected on Sunday. So we'll come with newness of life, I'm sure, next week. But today we have to do all the battering to be bloody, isn't it? Well, let me start with the issue of some matters which have actually rocked the educational sector. The issue of the Court of Appeal saying that deal with bunking teachers, and government also restores as well teacher training allowances, and we're also told that headmasters of senior high schools have been asked to sign performance, as it were, indicators to ensure that they perform on the job. Well, let me first talk about the restoration of teacher training allowances. It's been a very controversial issue over the time, and today we're told that, well, according to the promises which were laid down by the National Patriotic, the party, New Patriotic Party, sorry, the allowances have been restored. I'm sure that, as it was, Saka Salia would have the bragging right. I give him that certificate. Saka.
Yeah, thank you very much.
The allowances have been restored. I'm sure that, as it was, Saka Salia would have the bragging right.
Belated birthday to His Excellency the President.
Oh, really? When was this?
When
was the birthday?
Yesterday.
Oh, good.
Yesterday was his 74th birthday.
I would have sent him a fly if I knew.
You can still do that.
I'll do so.
Yeah. Yeah. We are talking about the restoration of teacher training allowance. You remember, this is a government that stand by its ways.
Yes.
That stand by its promises. I have always said that unless those who don't know who our president is, his word is so important to him.
He's a gentleman.
Yes. Remember when we were inaugurating or launching our manifesto at the trade fair site, he appended his signature to the manifesto. And in that occasion, and on that occasion, he said his reputation is so huge and so important to him, said that whatever that we put in this manifesto, if he knows that he is not going to fulfill it, he would never append the signature to it. So some of us are not, we are not surprised that almost all the promises that are found in the MPP manifesto is being, implemented. I think the restoration of teacher training allowance is key to the free SHS a flagship program. We all know that even as part of our manifesto, we have what we call the teacher first policy, and that the heart of it is how to motivate the teacher and the teacher trainee. First of all, I mean, if you have a free SHS, that brings in its wake about 90,000 more students into the system. You need more teachers. We need more motivated teachers into the system, so that the system will be effective. The system will see the light of day, and that culminated in the restoration. We all know, I mean, that it did not come so easy. It's not just a piece of cake. By giving each and every teacher trainee 400 Ghana cedis, you can just multiply, and you see the number, the quantum of money that we are talking here. But it's important to us, and they always say that if there is a will, there is a way, because we believe that we have the will to ensure that we get the right teachers with the right quality and quantity of teachers that we need to come into the system, and therefore we will do any and everything to succeed. And that is the reason why we are sacrificing, we are expanding the economy, so that we can have place or the allowance, to in order to get money to pay these teachers. I think that the teacher trainees are happy, because a lot of them, I mean, when the nursing trainees allowances were restored, I remember some people were thinking, oh, why is it that the nursing trainees allowance have been restored and then the teacher trainees? And we said that, you wait, it's just a matter of time. We have a 4-year mandate. We barely have spent a year, and therefore wait and see what will happen, because we have planned for every promise that this government made whilst in opposition.
Right.
And to some of us, I think it's one of those plazas that we can give to Nanado, government. We could have decided that, okay, the money that we use to restore the teacher training, we'll use it to go and build some edifice somewhere that will beacon you when you are coming, when you see it, and we could use it for politics. But we decided that no, there are important things to do. We don't do infrastructure just for the political, capital of it. We decided to restore the teacher training, even the free SHS. If you take the free SHS money, you can build the political, thousands of, we decided to restore the teacher training, even the circle entity, the free SHS, or whatever. If you take the money just go into those things. I mean, if you compare that one to the circle and whatever, payment is insignificant. And therefore, we want Ghana to live. We want Ghana to live.
And about banking teachers.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. It's part of it. Remember the teacher council that we intend bringing on board. We also even have to license teachers. We have to, praise them based on their performance. As to whether to renew or not to renew your conduct, your morality, all those goals. See, when a child is or a woman is in school or is being educated, it's not only the curriculum or the curriculum. You can foresee the caliber of children that, or students that we will be producing and all that. So in the teacher himself is a teacher.
All right. Okay.
The behavior of the teacher, his conduct, and all those things. That is the reason why every teacher, anybody who wants to go into the training college to become a teacher should not just do so because he wants to get a job. You should do that because you believe that is your calling. That is your profession.
It's cut out for the work.
You understand? And after which, then comes the incentive that government intend giving us and all that. So I think that this government, Nana Akufo-Addo government, intends to ensure sanity within the teaching profession, intends to ensure that only people or teachers who have the wherewithal, who want to be teachers, are people that go through and all that. I'm happy for that.
All right, should I swing to the other side of the divide, or just come directly to the first vice chair of the PPP party, William Doko? You want me to swing? You want me to swing to the other side, yeah? Right, okay. Koku, all that. I mean, there's been a restoration. Some people said it wasn't going to be possible, that it was going to be unnecessary. The NDC party was of opinion that when they paid these allowances, it was going to restrict the number of entrants. But here we have, they've gone the other way around. The economics of it is that they will still give way to the numbers and still pay the allowances. That and some other ramifications. Teachers who are misconducting themselves, and apart from that, the performance contracts of senior high school headmasters and all that. So
thank you, Kwame.
Right, okay.
Good morning to your good self one more time.
Long time.
Yeah, very long time. Yes. Very long time. And good morning to Willie, who I've also not seen in ages, and Saka. And our cherished viewers, I extend good wishes of the Easter to all viewers of GBC 24 and GBC staff and everybody. And yes, I hear president, and in fact he is 74 years old. He used the opportunity. In fact, yesterday the NDC issued a press statement wishing him well, but pointing out that like we were expecting that the 74th year birthday would have been used for something much better than going about changing names of our infrastructural edifices and other things. Those things are much important, because I remember under President Mills, under President Mahama, they would spend their time on orphans, on people with disability. You know, they will visit the schools, school of blind, school of the school for the deaf. I mean, just to be with those people and see the way out as to how we'll be able to help them out to also come out. Because, you know, having a president being with those people, it motivates them and all of that. And that's what we thought the president would have done, but he was busy changing the name of the Flagstaff House. And we've been asking as to what really that means. What does it put food on anybody's table? But I'm sure we'll come to that as a topic.
I thought you were finished dealing with that topic.
We'll come to it. Saka indicated that the president, in fact, in 2016, when they were campaigning, in fact, he appended his signature to their manifesto, and I found that very curious. And if indeed that the president did that, indicating or demonstrating that he is going to, be by his words, and that the content of the manifesto will be fulfilled to the latter. We are here. They made a promise, in fact, on free SHS, that it is going to be free and universal.
By the end of our fourth
universal. Year. And as we speak, those who are in second year and third year are not benefiting from the free SHS.
Have we finished our fourth year?
Those in the second year, meanwhile they voted, because on hearing that free education, free SHS was coming, decided to give them the votes. But here they are; they have not honored their promise, and that is deceptive. They've not been fair to the people. In fact, so it means that what Saka is saying cannot be true. And in fact, if you take the manifesto, for instance, they promised.
No, but we have 4 year term. Please, so don't be lying. We have 4 year term.
Please. You didn't tell the good people of this country that when you get an opportunity in 4 years, you wait. By the fourth year, you allow those who are coming in, or all those in the secondary school who get free education. You didn't tell them that. You said you start free SHS, and everybody who enjoy the free SHS.
You have to start from somewhere.
Please start from. I'm telling you that's why I pointed out to you that those in second year haven't enjoyed. You deceived them. Those in third year haven't enjoyed. You deceived them. So your manifesto is questionable. You told the people in page 145 of your manifesto that Ghanaians will enjoy security even in their homes and on the streets. Are we seeing that? Armed robbery is rife in this country.
We are not.
No, I'm telling you.
Well, are you a stranger?
You see.
Don't you know that we have reduced armed robbery?
You see, that was what Dr. Baunia is saying.
You
go and check the statistics. In January alone, the number of robberies we have encountered in this country. Okay. Haven't it reduced? Please.
By February.
What has reduced?
Second.
Nothing has reduced. Even just yesterday, hot afternoon in Amrenia, people were calling radio stations to get the police to come to their aid. Hot afternoon, daylight robbery. That's what is happening. You go there. And this is the first time. Amrenia, all those areas up to
which area is that?
Go and see. They come. The robbers, according to victims, the issues about. So you go to the good people of this country. So if your president has appended his signature to a manifesto that is not honoring, that is questionable. Okay, if he has forgotten, then he must go back to it and be honest to the good people of this country. Kwame, the issue of allowance restoration, and in fact the NDC, we stood by what we promised, that we've gotten to a point that we need to take away the quota system and allow more people to get access, because we've gotten to a stage and realized that the reason for which they set up training college to attract more people to come in and be willing to teach is no longer there. Interests in becoming teachers are high, and so let's take away the quota system. So long as the facilities are there to accommodate, let's take out the quota system. That was what influenced or motivated the idea to remove the quota system. And in fact, when we removed it for the first time, the admission jumped about 60%.
Of course, that had a correlation on whether or not you could pay allowances in it.
No. So what we did was that if we take out the quota system, we will link the students to
Kwame, the proof is that the economy was so porous that they could not contain it.
When we took out at least students to the students to a loan scheme, and in fact, you know, the training colleges have been upgraded to a tertiary status, and we've been asking that question: that which of the universities today enjoy allowance? It doesn't happen. So long as they've gotten there, let's link them to the loan facility so that those resources could be directed at equally important things. But because the NPP and President Akufo-Addo were so much interested in becoming, assuming government, they told the people it's doable. I mean, is it not even intriguing that it has taken them over a year even be able to give them that of teachers? Even if you take the manifesto of, after they won power, on some of the platforms, Dr. Bawumia indicated that it was going to happen in just 3 months.
Which platform?
Okay, campaign platforms. That the restoration was just going to happen in 3 months.
Wait.
When it got to March, I can pull it for you.
Pull it now.
When it got to March and the students were agitating, especially the nurses started agitating, they said it has to start in the academic year. So it took them all the way to September. They didn't pay as promised.
As in last year.
As in last year. Okay, and that was what happened. And in fact, if you take that of the nurses, about 12,430 something students have not enjoyed it, and they were protesting. That why we are also part of the system. We need to enjoy the allowance. They were not given.
But you gave them.
So, and now I'm saying that for us in the NDC, our position, it's still the same. And in fact, the president was very emphatic. President Mahama. He said it in Cape Coast that if that is what will end him the opportunity of not becoming the president, he is good. He's good.
But later on, he tried to do some charade.
Please. So that one is given. But I am saying here and now that, you see, in as much as they've done the restoration, we are seeing it. The numbers are not looking good in terms of admission. They've cut down.
What are the numbers?
The numbers.
What are the numbers?
That of nursing, 40% has gone up. So if you are taking about 10 people every year, now you are taking only 6. And those 4, that is our worry. The likelihood that some of them will become armed robbers is high because they don't have anything to do. And so we think that it's the best thing to do. Give the opportunity so long as they are willing to take it up. Let's give it to them so that at least we bring a lot of people up to fill the classroom. Because if you check, attrition is still high in the classrooms. It's still high, and we need to address that problem. On the issue of introduction of performance contracts
for senior high school headmasters.
Yeah, I think it's long overdue. And it's, for me, it's not even it shouldn't be limited even to teachers. Running this country should even be on performance contract basis. You see, and that's what a lot of effective private companies, that's what they do. You are given targets. If you meet it, you get your reward. If you don't meet it, you get what you have worked for. And that is how come we see those private entities doing so much well. And government institutions and our education sector and all of that, don't perform. And for me, I think it's the best. And that if you give a headmaster, a teacher, you are saying that they must do everything possible and ensure that if it is 100 students that are presented for BC candidates, a minimum of 90% must be delivered. Okay? And if you are doing that, you ensure that you are providing the necessary resources to those who are in charge and for them to deliver. It shouldn't just be the mere talk that we need these numbers and you not provide the resources. Because performance have to go with resources and motivation. And by that, we'll be getting elsewhere. And that of the teachers or headmasters who are having their way with, that's unacceptable. I remember we have discussed it here sometime back that the US has passed a law that teachers are now the law has allowed teachers to be in relationship with their teachers, and now I've expressed my view that that's not a good thing to do, because you see, the students are there to learn. If you are allowing them, no matter the situation, if you are allowing them, encouraging them to get involved in such a situation with their teachers, the likelihood that their mind will not be on the studies, but for something else is there. And so for me, it's not, a good enough thing. And I wish that we have a sanction regime much more harsher than what we have currently. That brings to mind what happened I think in the central region some time back and all of that, even though they said the lady is in a different school and all of that. But for me, it's not a good thing we need to encourage. The students must focus on their studies while in school. If they're out of school, anything at all can happen. But as long as they are in school, it's not a good practice. So I am for even a harsher punishment.
That's in custodial sentences.
Not custodial, but
you lose your license. That's it.
Okay.
That's if your license to practice.
Yeah, something deterrent, like you have suggested, and that would be good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me listen to my good friend and brother Duopo on some of these issues. Which is
it's good to be back on the show.
Yes.
This happy Easter.
Very well.
And let me take opportunity to wish all the progressives out there happy Easter.
Right.
And of course the people of Ghana very happy Easter.
And the Baptist Church in Joli, yeah?
Oh, certainly. Good. And members of the Charity Baptist Church. I'll join the service, later in the day. So don't worry about.
Tell them you're going to be late.
Kwame, teachers occupy a special place in the development of every nation. In fact, they belong to a special group of people. And people who have risen to the height of their careers and the rest, many people I know attribute their achievements to one teacher or the other, who encouraged them at one time or the other when they were discouraged and wanted to give up school and so on and so forth. And there was a Supreme Court judge who said that, but for a teacher, he would not have even gone to school because he was always resisting, and the teacher took him as his own child and put him to school and made sure that he went to school. So teachers are very important, very important. And as a developing nation, we must find the place they belong to and make sure that we put them there, and make sure also that we get what we are supposed to get out of them. So the issue of teacher trainee allowances, for me, it's a matter of priority. Do we need teachers? Do we need them in a certain number? Do we need them in a certain quality? Will the allowances facilitate that we get them in the numbers and quality? Every policy decision must be informed by a certain objective. So if that's what we want, why did we decide to sacrifice that? Why did we decide to withdraw it? Was it part of the Bretton Woods conditionalities? What did the NPP see? Did they find an electoral advantage in there by promising the teachers that they will restore the allowances? What was the motivation for withdrawing it, and what was the motivation for promising to restore it? Was it for electoral purposes, or it was part of the agenda to produce a certain caliber or quality, a number of teachers to help with the development of this country? For me, those are the issues that should occupy our minds when we are discussing these issues. And so to that extent, I think that the teachers or student teachers, training teachers must enjoy their allowances, and they must bear in mind that they occupy a special position in this country. We expect parents to do the needful by raising their children, morally and intellectually. But when it comes to the intellectual training, we leave that to the teachers. But it's not intellectual alone. Teachers, because of the special place they occupy, must also adhere to high moral standards. And that's why, they must not even think of entering, amorous relationships with, students, particularly the male teachers. I think that should be criminalized. I mean, there are so many, ladies out there, so you must really discipline yourself when you are put in charge of children. And I call, anybody below 18 a child. So teachers have no right, no matter what the attractions are, the physique, the provocation or temptation or whatever. They have no right to touch, young children. In fact, they are supposed to help them grow intellectually and morally. So they have no business at all. And I would recommend criminalization of that, conduct. Now, the next issue, which is performance contract.
Yes, contracts for
I think
headmaster.
If we had our priorities right and we knew what we wanted from education for our children, then when we engage people to deliver that, then automatically we should know what we expect of them, and they should also know what we expect of them, and they must work towards delivering. Of course, we must provide them with the tools, the facilities, and the motivation to deliver. And I believe so far, teachers are being provided with the basic minimum to be able to deliver. Sadly, there are schools that are still suffering the infrastructure deficit. So you have teachers there, but they do not have the tools and wherewithal to be able to deliver on the teaching and learning. Then you also have certain places where we have good facilities, but we don't have the human resources in terms of the right numbers of teachers to deliver. So, in all, I think we should be objective driven. What is it that we want? That should inform what we do to teachers in terms of allowances, their conduct, the compensation, the motivation, and so on and so forth.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Well, I think that this, program will not be complete without talking about the fact that the AMA evicts 1,000 slum dwellers and broken about 91 kiosks. I think that is once kiosks which don't only sell petty things or petty products in this country is concerned, you find that others use it as a form of accommodation. Yes. So when we come breaking them, we're really talking about dealing with people's accommodation. And my understanding is that according to the 24th March edition of the Ghanaian Times, AMA has embarked on such an exercise. And I'm thinking that in place of it, Saka, in place of getting these people out, what do we put in place?
Yeah, thank you very much. I think that this has become a problem for all of us. I mean, in terms of illegal dwellers, or slum dwellers in the city, it's become a problem. Apart from the nuisance it causes, it's come in each week a lot of criminal activities. People or wanted criminals, find those areas as safe havens for them. And they do all manner of things. They rape, they maim people, they taking hard substances, drugs, and all that. And this was a joint effort by the AMA task force and then the Tesano police. Right. Because that area around the Santana Market area and its enclaves has been one area that the police have had reports of criminals harboring there. And apart from that, their activities could also even lead to a fire outbreak, because what they do there, I mean, taking, smoking, all manner of weeds, and that place is also very, I mean, there's a wall that separates what they do, and then a filling station, that is the express filling station, and therefore it's no security person or city authority will sit down aloof and wait till there is disaster before you take action. That was the reason why they went to that area. They even gave them notice first. They gave them about 3 weeks notice. They even extended it, and the people will not just budge. And added to this is the illegal people who assume landlordship. Somebody will just go and then portion area that does not belong to the person and then become a landlord, takes people money monthly and all that, and he does not care whether it is what they are doing is part of the plans of the city authorities or not. And bear in mind, I mean, there any structure that you are going to put anywhere in Greater Accra or anywhere, it has to be accompanied by a permit. These people put those structures. Some of the structures are almost even permanent structures, without any permit. Without
illegal, unauthorized.
Illegal, unauthorized.
Yes.
They put it anywhere that they want, and they take money and all that. So in order to streamline things, in order to bring clarity to whatever, the AEME decided to do what they did, and they were able to get some people out and even arrested some criminals that were in the wanted list of the police and all that. I think that this thing is not going to be a 9-day wonder. It's going to be replicated and sustained. That is the most important thing. And there is this thing about whether they should have human face in the execution of some of these things, because some of them clearly were resistant. They tried to even resist whatever instruction that were given to them, and even when the bulldozers and whatever were in action, demolishing and trying to do all manner of salvaging the place, these people were also unharmed. I mean, try to resist the authorities, and the impunity with which they do it. I think that this nation, we need to look at it twice, because you mean
discipline is breaking down.
The indiscipline is too much.
Right. Okay.
The land does not belong to you.
Yeah.
The structure, even sometimes the structure itself is not yours. You haven't gotten any permit. The city authorities have come, give you warning, ask you to leave, extend even the date, and the day they come, then you are blocking the way, even in the face of security people holding guns and all that. I think something needs to be done quickly to send signal to all those people who want to flout the law, and think that they have the right, because we are in democracy. You see, if we are in democracy,
I am glad that politicians stayed out of this.
Oh yes,
so glad.
Yes, I mean, they were out of politicians. No politicians. I mean, even if they were, because the fact of the matter is that wrong was being occasioned, and we wanted our city authorities to sanitize the situation.
Saka, let me not drag you far. When these motor riders turned commercial riders, you call Okada, when they first set themselves out on the street, there was really the need for us to clear them, because if you look at the definition of transportation and commercial transportation, it doesn't include a two-legged object running around and carrying people.
Do you
understand?
Yeah,
you heard some of the comments
I get that.
And today the boys have taken over, as it were.
And almost every day, I mean, one Okada driver is either killed or made,
or he killed someone
forever. I mean, that is the situation. And they do not have license. They are not regulated. They just drive carelessly.
No, it's because of the issue
in town.
Discipline. That is why I brought this.
Because
and the fact that
we ourselves condone that, the politicians.
Yes.
I remember Nila Tebanda Boy.
Oh, please don't mention his name.
No, I mean, we
don't say a politician.
Yeah, I mean, no.
But
let's
be
frank with ourselves.
No, when you say a politician, I may know him.
And I remember the Greater Accra Regional Minister then, I mean, Afoto Abu. All of them, they went to Parliament outlawed it.
Right.
And they came out and said, "Oh, but these are my people, so allow them and all."
Let me understand that one. We're talking about, look, when you take the motorway this time, look at it on the right, you find these slum dwellers, you know, put up kiosks and all that. I'm saying that I'm glad if these exercises are carried out. But you see, these people are the byproduct of wrong national development. You think about it or not. You understand? And when we start to want to correct it, politicians step in and say, they are my people, where should they go, and all that. You understand? So
when they went to Parliament, they did not even stood up and disagree with the law.
Of course, they knew.
They accepted and even help in the debate to ensure that they outlawed it. Then when they come outside, then the story changes.
Okay. Very, very important. You know, it's good to maintain sanity, because indiscipline. In fact, a lot of people will tell you is our bane, is one of the main reasons why, I mean, we are still where we are. But you see, I think that in as much as politicians have not attempted to take advantage of the situation, and you know, that has been the trend for so many years, and so we should be even give NDC credit for not seeking to take advantage of the situation. I mean, it's good if you had been the MPP by now. You would have been there, sympathizing with those who are being evicted and all of that, making noise that when they come, they won't do what the people are doing, just for purposes of vote. But we are oriented, and in fact, development oriented, and want us to develop. That's why you will not see us out there, being hypocritical, seeking for votes. As the Saka and Co have done. You see, in as much as we are discussing this, that of Okada, I'm not going to pretend. You see, it's not part of our laws. In as much as it is not, we are asking a question whether it is contributing anything to our well-being. And sometimes I sit back to look at the numbers of people who own motorbikes and operate, and the work they do, their families and everything, and sometimes those who they carry, the passengers, sometimes I guess
they deny that they are passengers.
Oh no, Kwame,
they deny,
but nobody, we know they are working. Okay,
no, I'm saying that the passenger on your car, they'll tell you that, oh, he's my friend. No, I've not been trying to sit on this.
That is where it is.
So how do you prosecute the person who is riding the?
Okay, that's the issue. But me sitting here, me, I won't pretend. There are situations.
He used to be one of them.
Yeah, he used to be one of them.
Where from that one?
He said he used to be an Okada rider or something.
Yeah, he used to be one, so he will be here defending it.
Really, you see, you after you've gotten the votes, be here. They are watching you. The Okada people are watching you. So the point I'm making is that there are times that I get stranded. In fact, get locked up in traffic and need to go and look for one and go and do a program. And for me, you see, especially so that the cases of crime is going up and they've been able to find something for themselves. I have been saying, if you go to Togo, the use of motorbike is they use it much more than the vehicle. Get to the border, call it Zemija. All the way to Ashigame or wherever you are going. And in fact, so people are earning a living out of it. And for me an outright ban, I'm not for it. Laws are made for people. Okay, if we have in the past not anticipated that we'll have people who are using motorbike for transport services, then the tricycle for transport services, but here we are, and with us, we should be able to think around it and do something in their interest. Because if you want to enforce the law and all these people are banned from operating, where would they go to? What would they do? Their family and all of that. That's what I'm looking at. The armed robbery is what will go high, and then we'll come back and be pretending about it, just as is happening elsewhere. Why? Go to India, the tricycle, it's what they use. And in fact, Kumasi now, especially the tricycle, I've seen them. That's what they are using as well for cab services. And for me, we should think around it and fashion something that will help.
Rather than say that.
Yes, we'll just ban
it.
Why not? If you sit here and name people, they are agreeing not to. Why? You see, they are thinking about the consequential effects from the ban. What will happen? Or you maybe because you don't suffer armed robbery, you don't. Some have families they are looking after. Their children are in school. They need to pay school fees. The government has promised free SHS. I mean, their children have not even gotten sorry, they got admission into those schools, but they are paying much more than they are. The last time I checked, a lady was complaining that, hey, is this a free SHS? A list has come about 400 cedis. He has to buy books for the children.
From where?
You understand?
Which school is that?
So in the Volta region. And so
let me have that school.
You sit here.
Don't say you sit here.
Go and
after the program.
Yeah, because government has come out to say that.
Say what?
Any school that charges illegal fees, let's have that school.
Have you provided the books?
No,
every school has been giving textbook.
Understand that he said he used the word illegal. He used the word illegal. So if it is legal, then there's no problem, isn't it?
Kwame, the point I'm making is
but
the parents are
no
crying.
school is supposed to
That, but they told that the education is free. All the child needs is to bath.
You are doing propaganda. What you are saying is outright lies.
Koku. Notes are coming.
It's outright lies.
The connection with this whole thing about the demolition exercise and all that. Yeah. I can't see my way clear.
No, the point I'm making.
Yes.
The point I'm making really is that those that we want to take off the streets, the Okada people and all of that, I am saying they've made a living out of that, and some of them have to take care of their family.
You know the slum dwellers. You don't think that there's a need for them to also?
As for slum dwellers, but you see, that one, I think government should be able to do something about it.
Like what?
See, when you move them, you scatter them from wherever they are. Where do they go? They go up and settle in another place. So why not put up, low-priced structures?
Where?
Government, that's why government must think. That's why the people give government.
Government is doing that.
Government must think. That's why they give something for a land.
Government is doing that.
Settle them.
They don't need to pay.
And settle the criminals. Government is doing that for everybody.
Kwame,
did you hear that?
They make
a living. Government go and settle the criminals.
Some of them. The slum dwellers are
not the slum dwellers necessarily. Not the slum dwellers.
The point I'm making,
but I'm saying that
you have no idea the money they make in those slums, and it's the reason why some of them don't want to leave because of their businesses in there. They sell things. So me, I'm saying that government should look a land somewhere and just create it, put up affordable structures.
Yes.
But
is government not doing that?
If it is clear facilities, because some of them the facilities they live in are much lower than what you can't consider it as something proper or habitable for a human being. So government should put up something to that standard and make money out of that. Because if you don't do that and you stand up, you are sacking them. Where do they go? They go back and settle somewhere, and it is not in our interest. So government should find a way around it and generate revenue out of that. Assemblies can do that, even if central government, through Ministry of Works and Housing, cannot. Assemblies should take an opportunity and make it.
It's not everything that is bread and butter. It's not everything about life which is bread and butter. Sometimes I find ornamental trees being cut down. I find lots of things. I'm asking myself the question: we're making space for buildings. I'm asking, is everything about bread and butter?
I get it.
So if we have to clear them for certain purposes, just to probably keep the ecosystem in balance, for instance. I know certain plots around Tema area. If you're driving around Nungwa to Tema along the Harbour Beach Road, you realize that certain places were reserved for these egrets.
Yes.
To the way we find them.
Yes.
Gapo has virtually taken almost part of it, and it's putting up, certain. I'm saying that.
And even Ramsar sites.
That's the point I'm making.
Sites.
You see. So it's everything that is bread and butter.
No, I agree with you. But the point I'm making is that it does not mean that government cannot really get any fallow, any land available somewhere.
But this is not new. Government is doing that.
What is it?
So what are you talking about?
But you didn't indicate it yet that the government is doing
but you are making that point. And I'm saying that government is already building affordable houses for people who can afford.
For who?
For low income areas.
Can the slum dwellers occupy the Smith housing that we are.
We're not talking about Smith housing. We're not talking about Smith housing.
Something much.
Let me talk to you.
The affordable houses that before left, you people were supposed to continue.
You can't afford it.
I know. I see. I'm saying that this throws up a lot of issues. They're just slum dwellers, but it becomes a subject matter of commentary. Is everything going to be bread and butter? When we evict them, why are we going to put them? Of course, that's the kind of argument he's making. He says the governance, and I'm asking us, what do we do with all this? First and foremost, we should not even let it start. If it starts, what do we do?
Yeah. Well, Kwame, now I understand why your producers insisted that I sat in between these guys because this is NPP NDC, and I can feel the
heat, isn't it?
Yeah. I think this eviction of 1,000 squatters is only one of the knee-jerk, if you like, actions that governments take every now and then, and I'm so familiar with this situation that I just laugh. Now, this place they are talking about is in the Ayawaso West Wogon constituency, a place that I have worked a great deal and campaigned for my party. And we have discussed how to resolve these squatter issues. And when you engage these people living in the slums and the rest, and you talk about the need for getting a job so that you would move from here and hire a one bedroom or chamber and hall, and it does not register, okay, and successive governments have contributed to it. The politicians have encouraged it. They have played a key role in it. They have gone there to give handouts to them and mobilized people living in these constituencies. In fact, there are constituency organizers and chairmen and what have you who control these slums. So for me, it is the height of hypocrisy to say that you are clearing slums when you have not put in place the programs that will prevent people from settling in the slums in the first place. Now, these are adults. Some of them have their families there. What work are they doing? Can they afford the chamber and hall? Do you think that if they could afford the chamber and hall and they were properly oriented, they would like to sleep in the mosquito-infested slums? Kwame, you need to visit these places to know the realities. So it is such a big joke. Now, in the same constituency, I see a lot of illegal structures springing up, and I don't want to mention the areas, but people are building proper brick and mortar with tiles, and some of them are for accommodation purposes and some of them are for business purposes. And I think it's a problem all over Accra, not only Ayawaso West, or now we have been elevated to a municipal status. So we are looking forward to collectively help to resolve this problem. And for me, it's all about ability to get a job and earn an income, because when you are able to do that, then you have a choice. Now, city authorities must also be up and doing. When you see one tabletop, one kiosk spring up, that is when you must stop it. You know what's happening now? If you check, you realize that our party is in power, and therefore we can go in there and put these structures there and stay there. I can't say for a fact that those who have been evicted now belong to the previous regime or were supported by it, but I have a strong feeling that those who are engaging in the illegalities now, those who are building brick and mortar all over the place are doing so because they have a certain thinking that they are covered politically. And this is the time for the AMA and the municipalities to take action. Not wait, because 2 years to election, 1 year to election, they are not able to do that. They rather go and reinforce and then get more people in there. In fact, encourage them to use non-existent addresses to register and mess up the whole electoral and representative issues. So the politicians are responsible for this, and the solution lies in economic empowerment, jobs. Okada is becoming a very tricky issue to deal with, because I see police officers
who are in a hurry, yeah?
I see police officers use Okada. I've seen one get off and pay. So it's becoming a very complex matter. We either find the best way of regularizing it and make sure that the safety issues are there, or we deal with the issues that make it more convenient for people to decide to use Okada if we really do not want it.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, let me move on to the other important issue of asking whether or not Koku Anyidoho's comments actually merited his arrest. But let me just go take a break. When I come back, we'll begin to delve into that issue. Please, I'm sure that this Easter edition of Paper Review is very enjoyable, and you won't stay away and then come back again with me.
In our case, Ghanaians sometimes do not want the truth.
See, when you say such things, it's as if you say Ghanaians that we are stupid. And this is the mistake the NDC did, and we throw them out. And you're doing the same thing.
Last time you said it, that without loyalty, no political party will come into his enemies into office.
I see.
If we're going to kill it, we should let people realize that certain things are not acceptable anymore.
How would you kill it?
But you have agreed at this point that assuming that there's no merit in whatever is brought, the person could kill it.
They didn't get a second term. They were sacked from office.
I'll come to the same time. Thank you very much for being part of this program. I'm sure that it hasn't just been the newspaper, but it has been the subject matter of, as it were, commentary.
Well, I'm back again here and with Koku, Mauli, Nanigbe, Saka Salia, and Mr. Domopo. We've been looking at some of the issues which made the headlines in the course of the week. And I want to delve into the issue of maybe I want Doko to start with this whole issue about the arrest of Mr. Koku Anyidoho on the basis that he made statements to the fact that there's going to be a civilian coup. Now, it's been described as treasonable, and so my understanding is that from the papers, he's going to be charged with 3 counts, slapped with 3 charges, and very soon he'll face the law for those statements. Now, let me ask you, Doko, were the statements warranted at all?
Well, before I move to the statement,
right?
I think the development threw up that critical question.
Right.
What is the purpose of our nation?
Right.
What are we collectively working towards? And I think that question, you know, is just not there. And for me, if that question was there, we would have settled this, you know, statement very, very easily, as really, you know, much ado about nothing. The treasonable nature of it, that a politician makes such a statement on radio, and the argument is that, look, we are operating in a democracy. We have free speech. We must be allowed to say whatever we want and how we want it. Kwame, if you asked me, in a serious context, what Koku Anyidoho said, for me, it should have just been dismissed. For the kind of you know, political animal he is, and given that we have experienced such statements, you know, before this one.
So that's why I'm asking you the question: what do you think warrants a statement like that?
Warrants?
Yes. Why would he want? Is it that he wants to pay somebody in his own coin or something? Is it want to make that? Is it making a statement because it's maybe worst ones have ever been made or something?
I don't know if you are getting me right.
I am getting.
I think that there's, if you want to call it madness, for instance, right, in quotes, there's a formula to it. Now, if you watch carefully, Koku Anyidoho is one of those people who is ready to attack the government. All right, and you know, he's not doing that because he's mad. He's doing that to help his party come back to power. It's as simple as that. Again, there are timing issues here. Remember that somebody, I think 2 years to 2016, I think 2015, 2014, 2015, you know, Kennedy Japan made, you know, some comments that were also considered to be treasonable. All right. And there was that whole hula baloo and the reactions and all that. It's all part and parcel of the strategies and tactics of attaining political power.
By saying that Nana Akufo-Addo's government would be thrown in a civil revolt.
Yeah, it is to provoke what has happened. And to Koku Anyidoho's constituents, I mean, those in the NDC and outside the NDC, he has gained the mileage and the capital that he wanted. For 48 hours, 2 days, we spent ink and airtime talking about Koku Anyidoho's treasonable comment, which if you put under the microscope is a mere hot air, particularly coming from Koku Anyidoho. Now I've been looking at this guy and I'm thinking that perhaps the sudden departure of his former boss, late President Mills, you know, he was quite close and he was, large and in charge of affairs and all that, including the, dismissal of the, regional director of ECG in Kumasi on radio and so on and so forth, when he had not been authorized to do so. So if you have such a person make such a statement, for me, really, Kwame, if I was in charge, I would not spend a moment taking this seriously. Now, other people look at it differently, and they are saying, hey, this man is talking taboo. He's making references to 1972. The president's father then was head of state, and they are connecting dots, and they say, hey, let's go after him, let's arrest him and all that. And I'm saying all this in the political context, and I'm saying it is a contest of power, the thinking that goes into how to wrestle power from a sitting government, and the NDC and NPP are quite good at that. So those of you who are not political animals, who cannot read in between the lines, you can sit at home and be anxious. But those of us who know how these two parties attain political power, we care less about that. Now, so that's for the politics of it. The police or the security agencies, for me, they were within their rights to invite him to come and explain himself, because assuming that it was a real threat, he was capable of carrying it out, and he was that stupid to even say it openly before he attempted to do it. If they didn't take any action, they would have reneged on their responsibilities and duties as a security system. And so it was okay for them to invite him. Then somebody to raise the question about the house, the manner, the way and manner in which. And to be honest with you, Kwame, if I was in charge of this matter, that conversation would have been at most half an hour, 30 minutes. 30 minutes. Because as a professional, within 30 minutes, I would know whether I should take that threat seriously or not. But it took us 48 hours. All of a sudden, NDC bigwigs, were resurrected from wherever they were sleeping. The big lawyers showed up. They started talking. Their foot soldiers massed up at the police HQ, creating absolutely unnecessary tension in Ghana. And that takes me to the big deal, the question: what are we about? What do we want for Ghana? Kwame, do you believe that if we really had that matter in view, third world country, lower echelon of middle income status, 1,500 what do we call it, per capita GDP, when we should be talking about 12,600. If we had that big deal on our tables, from the presidency to the political activists, we would not have swallowed this agent of provocation.
Oh, that's what you think, yeah?
No, it was mere provocation. Okay. Right. And look, if the government does not know, but I'm so sure that the government knows about it, because they also play the same tricks. When they were in opposition, they play the same game. So how they yield to this temptation and waste everybody's time for 2 days, and they're even promising more, that he must report on Tuesday. So people are waiting. Monday, Tuesday, the discussion will continue, and of course we are discussing this matter now when we should be talking about how to attain high income status for the good people of Ghana. So we should begin to wise up,
right? Okay.
As a nation,
and understand some of these tricks.
Right. Okay. Okay. Do you think somebody who wants to really stage, a coup, would say this in public? And even if it's civil, revolt, he will give you the warning ahead of time, so you would stop it.
Well,
is he capable of doing that?
Well,
Kwame, let's get a bit serious in this country.
Well, let me just go and take a break. When I come back, I'll take the views of Nanigbe and then Sakasa. Please stay tuned with me and don't go away.
In our case, Ghanaians sometimes do not want the truth.
See, when you say such things, it's as if you say Ghanaians that we are stupid. And this is the mistake the NDC did, and we throw them out. And you're doing the same thing.
Last time you said it, that without loyalty, no political party will come into his enemies into office.
I see.
If we're going to kill it, we should let people realize that certain things are not acceptable anymore.
How would you kill it?
But you have agreed at this point that assuming that there's no merit in whatever is brought, the president could kill it.
They didn't get a second term. They were sacked from office.
I'll come to the same time. Come with a call. Thank you very much for being part of this program. I'm sure that it hasn't just been the newspaper, but it has been the subject matter of, as it were, commentary.
Well, I'm back again, and don't forget that I'm streaming live on YouTube, Ghana Broadcasting Corporation. My Facebook is Ghana Broadcasting Corporation online at gbcghana.com. Now, you wanted to make that statement that
yes,
these are all tricks, these are all theoretical, and Ghanaians should not.
They also strategic.
Strategic, okay.
Strategic.
So we should go to sleep if anybody's making those comments. We should go to sleep when people are making those comments.
Well, some people,
however treasonable they are.
Some people.
Right. Okay.
Some people. I know.
Yes.
That it is part of the tactics.
Right.
It is said that when the bird stays on the tree for long, it attracts the stone.
The stone, right.
Now, if you watch the trend, NDC will stay in power at most for 8 years. All right. NPP will stay in power for at most 8 years. Now, these NDC people who just left power, they want to find a way of fast-tracking the exit of the NPP
within 4 years.
Within 4 years, yes. And so, what they should be doing in the 6th and 7th year, I think that they have decided to do now, and it is
by creating fear and panic, isn't it?
That's why I'm saying that if you think that Koku Anyidoho is mad for saying that, I'm saying to you that there's a formula to his madness. So he knew what he wanted. And he has been very, very consistent.
Yeah, but it's not they are not the only set of people who dwell in this country.
Well, certainly.
The president and others have the responsibility to ensure that we live in peace and harmony.
And that's why. And that's why.
Well, he's not mad. I mean, not mad as in saying that he's mad. We all know what he's saying.
Certainly.
I'm saying that it's the responsibility of a government in part to ensure that there's peace.
Well,
so if somebody comes up and says that, look, there's going to be civil revolt, and in whose interest would this civil revolt be?
Good.
So they will have to rise to the occasion.
Fantastic.
So if you tell me that it's theoretical and somebody else's strategy,
yes,
then I'm saying that what are they doing?
Fantastic question. That's why I said the police,
yes,
or if you like, add BNI to it, could have invited him and had a 30-minute conversation, to find out whether they should take him seriously or not. And I'm betting my last CD. Okay, the conclusion is that don't take him seriously, and so they would have given us the time and space and energy to focus on our national agenda if we had it. Okay.
Part of which is to ensure peace
on the front burner.
Part of which is to ensure peace, isn't it?
Yes, but by inviting the guy and verifying that without drama.
How wouldn't you attract drama? You just mentioned that it resurrected some party stalwarts, big wigs, lawyers, and all that. People were coming from all over.
Why did they have to go and pick him at the press conference in the first place?
My understanding is that he was invited, but he refused to go.
Are you sure?
Well, that's my understanding.
Okay, so you see, we refuse to learn as a nation.
Yeah.
All right, and I remember very well when Kenneth Japan, for instance, was invited to the police headquarters. Today, I see lawyers in Parliament. All right, ministers of state. Who rushed to the police headquarters that day. And when he was released, some of them carried him shoulder high.
Yes.
And some of them are in our legislature today. I know them. Do you know why the police decided to drive Koku Anyidoho home? At least they learned a certain lesson. All right? Yesterday, if they had left him on his own to go to their party headquarters, it would have been jamboree.
So they put him in their vehicle.
So they became a bit wiser, and so they decided to take him to his home and somehow negotiated something with him. That is the kind of wisdom we must start to apply to settle these issues. Not to just follow, but we must. When I say
let's other persons come here. Please.
I must say that, and in fact, our General Secretary, Mr. Johnson, I said, made the point that our Deputy General Secretary's comments doesn't reflect the views of our party. It's not a position of the party. It's an individual view that he expressed, and that must be reiterated. And I think that I take an exception to Willie describing my Deputy General Secretary as an agent of provocation. He's not. You see, Koku is a very passionate politician. That is Koku. Yes, very passionate about his utterances, his work, and everything. And especially having President Akufo-Addo and Dr. Baumia, who were all around, phantom promises, and that the NGC was incompetent. That we never saw before. In fact, if you have the table 10, and we are seeing what we are seeing today, we are not going to have the likes of Koku and others just looking on.
So that wasn't a statement.
You understand?
It was a statement like that.
You see, the statement, people have taken the statement out of context.
Yeah, so let's put it in context now.
Koku on Happy FM, and in fact was speaking about the demonstration that was supposed to come up on Wednesday. And it had to do with President Akufo-Addo mortgaging Ghana for only $20 million. 20 million. Even Seychelles is rejecting $550 million from India for a same facility. But President Akufo-Addo, for his 74th birthday, so much happy about $20 million just to sell out of, okay, to finish the agenda of JB Dangwa. Okay, that was all that.
The agenda to do what?
You know JB Dangwa.
Yes, what did he do?
The CIA agent. Well, just so
I think that this program should not descend to.
Excuse me.
This,
I mean, we don't know. These things have been paraded.
Richard Mahoney has a book. It's establishing there. But you see, I don't want to go there.
No, I'm saying that Mahoney's book is not the basis for some of these statements. Yes.
Why would JB Dangwa for once, when he was released from prison, and when they attacking U.S. embassy officials, that why they neglected his other wife? No, we're not taking. Is U.S. embassy Father Christmas?
No, I'm coming. No, I'm coming. These are historical statements we make. So if we want to go into them, let's have the historical. Mahoney's statement alone does not actually clarify the issue.
Is American embassy Father Christmas that for JB Dangwa to go and be confronting them?
He came out of prison to say those things.
JB Dangwa died in prison, and we are saying that
he went to the U.S. embassy.
After he came out of prison?
You did not take.
You don't know what you are talking about.
After he came out of prison?
Yes. Yes.
When the man died in prison, and you are saying he came out of prison, or you don't know what you are talking about.
You don't even know how many times he went.
You don't know what you are talking about.
So please let's know how.
So you mean that he really suffered in the hands of Koku?
But to the most important thing, you see, like I was saying, what has brought us here was because President Akufo-Addo mortgaged Ghana for $20 million. And Koku was saying,
this guy doesn't even understand the $20 million. $20 million is not going to give it to us like this.
There is a group.
It's a cost of the training.
The first.
Saying $20 million.
Yes. They plan to organize a demonstration. So the NDC, and in fact, because of the way the MPP went about the thing, associated with the group, and in fact, not only NDC, we have a lot, the PNC, the CPP. I didn't see William Dokodo, but I know for a fact that they are not for
agreement. Discussing the demonstration,
we're discussing, and no other party.
We're discussing
civil society groups all supported. The group to have that demonstration, and that was what Koku was speaking to. That for him, the demonstration was going to happen, and that would be the basis or the beginning of a social revolt. Okay, and that's, we have seen it before. In 1972, a certain Ignatius Achampon, okay, out of the super incompetence of President Edward Akufo-Addo.
Did he use that, or we are using it?
Prime Minister Buzia, they were overthrown. Okay, so he was cautioning. He was cautioning, and that history has an interesting way of repeating itself.
Yes,
this is a harmless suggestion, as far as I'm concerned. From Koku Anyidoho.
You are making remarks. You are making remarks about a soldier taking over power in 72, and somebody repeating it and saying, it so many years after, and saying that the ingredients are ripe now.
Yes,
and so there's going to be another one again.
Social.
So there's going to be a civilian coup d'etat.
Social revolution.
He used the word civilian coup d'etat too.
Well, you see, it was within the right of Koku Anyidoho to express his opinion. But you see, when we go on this trajectory, we're actually fomenting ourselves in trouble.
You see, people
I don't know what
have even said words. Okay,
like what? Like who?
Listen, the national youth organizer of the NPP, okay, Samia,
he said we should overthrow government.
Who all of a sudden issued a hypocritical statement.
Why hypocritical?
That's what I'm telling you. 27th September 2014, he went and sat on Oman FM and said that Ghana was rife for civil unrest. Adum FM online.
Did you like the statement? Did you like the statement?
For me,
yes.
I looked at the man Samia Uku and to check if he is able to even cause social unrest. And he's not in that capacity. I mean, a national youth organizer, he was just inciting his people and everything.
So when you marry that statement to what Doko is saying, that becomes strategic.
And it's not even strategic. I'm saying that in that vein, you see the person making the comment to see if he'll be able to do that thing. See, FF Anto is MPP's vice chairman. Let me read something for you. What he said in Kumasi. He said Achampong embarked on a massive infrastructure development. He built Kumasi Stadium.
Yes.
Konfanoche Polyclinic. But when he mismanaged the economy and inflation shot up, he was overthrown. Do you remember what happened to him? He was shot to death. The way Mana Mahama has mismanaged the economy, if not for civilization and democracy, he should have been killed by now.
All right. So
no, but this is not
okay.
Right.
FF Anto, vice chair of the MPP. You remember President Akufo-Addo himself all around saying there will be the election will be an all die be die.
Right.
Kenny Japan,
right.
That the Ashanti should take up arms against guns and LS and all of that. Okay, and people have said much worse things.
Right.
And for me, I'm saying that you see, just listen to the person and check if the person has the capacity to really do what he is saying. And these things are just...
How would you gauge somebody's capacity?
You can. Come in, you can.
If I sit here, listen, someone sits here and says that the FS and guns in Kumasi should be attacked. He lives in Accra and will say that that incendiary statement has not got the capacity to invoke that thing in Kumasi, and you're telling me that, look at the man. So you should go to sleep over things like that.
If you check in India, Japan,
yes.
This a man, after saying all of that,
no. Please, this is a joke. This is a joke.
I'm saying that he says the thing, the next time on TV, they will be crying over what he has said, okay, or apologizing for what he has said. If you monitor the person, you monitor the person's utterances and all that, know that, as for this,
tell me,
if you had been a retired military officer with a gun at a radio station telling you that there is going to be coup, okay, then you go ahead and know that this person is up to something.
Oh, so but you will never get one anyway.
And so
you never find a soldier in the radio station saying that it's going to be cool.
And for all these years that we have heard all manner of people making this comment, what has happened? Even I remember, if nothing has happened, okay, and it's a fact for us to consider. And even to the extent that in 2004, when President Kufuor stood at Ofinsu North and said that President Rawlings was organizing a coup. President Rawlings was organizing a coup to the extent that they will have to rounding up and all of that. What came out of it? We've gone beyond that, and I'm saying that those things, let's not pay a heed to those. And I've told you that it is just an attempt by the MPP, to divert attention from the critical matter of selling this country for $20 million, and there was a protest march at stake, and so they quickly have to move to the press center to attempt to arrest Koku Anyidoho. And at that venture, party supporters were there and resisted. And you see, I'm saying that it's much worrying that under President Akufo-Addo, who is claimed to be a human rights advocate, okay, and a lawyer, okay, and want to be granted the title as the man who championed the repeal of criminal libel law, will be the one under whose watch that police will go to press center where a program was ongoing to go and arrest.
Okay.
Is it not?
Thank you very much. You don't have the whole time to rant.
It's included that the same person who as an attorney general was championing
but I thought you have given me the opportunity.
The same person. We are here. Press freedom will come. You will see him standing somewhere with a long speech and be reading. You see, it's about time we tell our president that you see some of us want to see him lived by things he said.
Okay, so just hold on. You come back.
No, let me just wrap up on this matter, because you know why.
You come back.
No, let me just finish.
The moderator is telling you to stop, and you say you stop.
Oh, please. You see what has finally happened. Okay, I am asking that the police have gone there, and you know the illegality that happened. That, for instance, the police has gone to Koku's home to conduct a search, and after that search, that they went to the court to go and look for a court warrant. No, but President Akufo-Addo's government, you know that they will do that. But you know that they have gone to cut a sword for construction of a cathedral for the clegy, for which today the clergy is also quite.
Let me hear.
Shall I respect the program, please?
Let me hear your brother. Let me hear your brother.
Thank you very much, Kwame. I think that the hypocrisy of the NDC is becoming something else. It's so bizarre that the NDC will distance itself from the statement from the incendiary statement.
But Koku was not speaking for.
Can you let me talk, please? Can you let me talk?
You interjected.
Let me talk.
Koku was not speaking.
True or false? You see, you're asking to let you talk, and then you're asking a question. What would you think?
I'm not asking him any question.
You said true or false. Okay, let's go ahead.
I'm not asking him anybody any question.
Okay, let's go ahead.
I am saying that it's so ironic and hypocritical on the part of the NDC for them to distance themselves from the statement of the Koku Anyidoho, that unfortunate, reckless statement on the part of Koku Anyidoho, and then come out, and then come out, and apologies of the same stable will come here and defend what Koku Anyidoho says.
No. Don't call him apologies.
No.
Listen. Please quiet. I mean, we're all friends and we're panelists here. I don't want a statement. Apologies of publicity. He hasn't said anything that is insulting, as far as I'm concerned.
But nobody insulted him.
No, but as the comment you made is for me is defamatory.
When he was saying those things against the president of the land,
what did he say?
He was saying things about
no. If he says that is insulting, I'll cause him, because this is a state-owned television station, and I will not want anyone to say anything incendiary, defamatory about the first gentleman.
Yeah. So what I'm saying.
So if you are talking, please.
So what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that the NDC has a body.
Yes.
Knowing the recklessness of the statement, and knowing that the statement is treasonable enough, and therefore they don't want to associate themselves with that statement. Duly, accepted and distance itself from the statement. Then individually, the same NDC, then you get individuals from amongst them, then come and say that, oh, we have decided to distance ourselves from the statement. But what he said, no. Then they begin to what he said is listen to me. It is not because it's a party position, but because of the incendiary nature of the statement. It's not that necessarily is a party position, but because the statement is so bad that no civilized group, no civilized group will want to associate itself with those statements. One school of thought says that, oh, we should allow them, we should take the statement for what it is, because this guy has developed notoriety of giving us hollow statements, and we should not take him serious. But that is a school of thought. Another school of thought says that because this guy has developed that notoriety of saying things and nobody takes him on, he is now developing harm, and he is creating more of the Koku Anyidoho who is in the system. And let me tell you, we have built a democracy together. This democracy, you can call it a nascent one or whatever, but I believe that people suffered for us to get it where we are today. And for anybody to call for violent overthrow of a constitutionally elected...
He didn't do that.
Listen, we are not saying he said. You're a lawyer. In criminal law, when even somebody with the intention, even if you have intention of doing something and you haven't even done it, you are culpable. Like even if you even withdraw, please, they should go and jail him. You should have to talk from an informed position. Don't just talk like that.
No, but you know about
I'm saying,
you know about
please, which when
he said they should litter water region with dead bodies, you know about it. Please, intentions would have ended people in jail.
Just hold on.
You see, when somebody even say litter with dead bodies, it means that the dead bodies are dead, then you go and put them around. That is why they don't say that you should go and kill people there.
So where is he getting them from? The dead bodies?
No, I'm just saying, I'm just interpreting what he's saying.
Okay, so let's put it aside. Okay.
I for the correctness or otherwise, I don't want to even go there.
Right, okay.
But I'm saying that we have suffered for this democracy, and we all know constitutionally, anybody that calls for violent overthrow of a constitutionally elected regime is liable to treason. And it does not matter whether the overthrow is by military or by civilian or whatever. The operative word is coup. And coup by definition is violent overthrow of a regime by a body. That body could be by military, civilian, and whatever. Then somebody says it, and even went further to say that what happened in 1972 is likely to happen. It has interesting way of repeating itself. and then you think that we should not take such a person serious, especially somebody that is representing the largest opposition as his deputy general secretary. And then any government, any security apparatus worth its salt will not sit down and allow such a thing to go on. I am saying, because Koku Anyidoho was not just taken for seeing what he believes in. He was not warning and he was not giving advice. He was saying it as a, and he even said that it was going to start from the Wednesday, the last Wednesday. Let me tell you, the last Wednesday, we cannot conclude. Please, we cannot conclude. If it is stamped, nobody will arrest you.
That's what you are saying.
If it is stamped, last Wednesday, were you going to use stamp?
That is the starting point.
Were you going to starting point of what?
Let the people
so was it what you did? So what they did on Wednesday was politics, and not genuine concern for the defense corporation. U.S. military defense, but it was politics. You see, these are some of the things. If Ghanaians should know what that we have signed of measures, what do you call it, agreement, they should have known when the NDC was in power. When the Status of Force 1988 was signed by the hypocritical NDC. When the acquisition and cross service agreement was signed in 2015 by the hypocritical NDC, these are the very people that signed the similar agreement, and they turn around and say that, oh, you should not sign it because we decided to follow the law by taking it to Parliament. If you look at all the agreement that we signed, there was immunity. There was please, unless you are ignorant of what it contains. Unless you are ignorant of what it contains. There is no much difference between those that you sign and then the Defense Cooperation Agreement that we have.
We're talking about Koku Anyidoho.
You understand?
I'll come back
but when we go for the tangential, we have to go there and set the record straight before coming. But I'm saying that for Koku Anyidoho, we all know the things that he said in the past. They should lock up Ghana borders. The accused is singing like canary birds. People should not run away. Nobody should dare. and all manner of things. Look at the last time he was even sacking somebody on air. The president is angry. He's going to sack it. All manner of things. Even the last election, they said, Koku, don't dare. The victory of the NDC is coming again. We are in comfort. I mean, he has become a pathological liar. We all know.
Oh no.
But
no.
Oh no. But that is the fact.
You see, when you say someone,
that is the fact.
It's a very serious. It's a damn.
Yeah, it's serious.
No, yes, but you don't make those statements here.
Why should I make?
You can think about it, but don't.
It is not an insult.
No, it is.
No, it is not.
All right.
So, Kwame, if somebody says they should overthrow, if somebody says, nobody plays Koku. If somebody says that they should overthrow a government that we all.
It was not overthrown. It was nothing like that.
What do you mean by coup?
That is a treasonable statement.
What do you mean by coup?
That is a treasonable statement.
And I'm saying that for going to even the press center, for going to the press center, and even invite him and let him walk the way he walked to the police headquarters, I was very sad about it.
They should have dragged him in the street.
Gone there
and dragged him in the street.
Handcuffed him because look, that man has proven to be dangerous to society, and therefore should have been treated as such. He himself has alluded to that.
Let me tell you something about.
And then you will come and sit here and then let me
read some of the messages. Please, Mr. Host, your the interjections are too much. You should understand what I'm saying. Yeah. Guys are not enjoying it out there. Good morning, my brother. Please, my name is Captain Moses Kwame Kisi. My message is love. I love the delivery of the PPP man. His message is unique and clear, so try to bring him every time on your program. Thanks and have a happy Easter. Well, Mr. Host, good morning to your guest. On Koku Anyidoho's statement, it sounds a threat in the ear, but lacked substance and meaning. It is time politicians must end this order from above syndrome, and our police should be professionals and not, well, he uses the Z word, and I won't say that here. What is the man in the middle really talking about? A man threatens our democracy with these unfortunate statements, and you sit in the studio to tell us it's mere political tactics, so it should be giving that much attention. It should not be giving that much attention by the security agencies. Come on, Mr. Man. Even if Koku did not mean what he said, don't you think that those comments could easily incite people to carry out those statements? After so many years of practicing democracy, you mean to say that our best way of practicing democracy is having a politician make these comments and you expect people to clap for him? Come on, Ghana, we are a complete joke as a nation. Can Saka respect the views and keep quiet so that we can hear what other panelists are saying? Kwame, good afternoon. Please ask the NDC man if the Minister of Defense or government has signed any U.S. Ghana deals in 2018. Fact is, as of now, the contract between Ghana and US on military engagement was signed in 2015 by the NDC. This hypocrisy is a threat to our country. I am Bismarck. Justice from Teshi, how can the NDC man defend that barbaric, reckless, screaming treason statement from Koku and say it has been taken out of context? What kind of hypocrisy is that? They are not learning from their massive defeats and they will be in opposition for many years. Can you please, Mr. Saka Salia, respect himself? He said, tell Saka Salia to respect himself and understand that no one is his son in the studio. We are watching his uncouth behavior. Sorry about that statement. He should be honest and not defend the indefensible. So many statements are coming. Well, let me just cut off and then take a phone call from someone who is sitting on the line. Well, I would do that later, but the numbers are crawling on the lines, and if you want to be part of the statement, please, you can call. And Saka, your statement.
Yeah, I mean, you
have been told to be a bit calm about it.
Yeah, I'm a bit, you see, my being, emotional is because of...
I understand someone is on the line already. Good afternoon and welcome, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon and welcome, sir.
Mohammed, calling from Adanta.
Very well. Mohammed, you're on air, sir.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir, my brother. Your view, sir?
Yeah. Yeah, please. My message is just a short message that I want to say. You see, if we have these big men saying this to we, the common people, we, the latest, the lower citizen in this country, and we are also supposed to say something like this, will it be a good thing for all of us to be saying something like this? That's what I want to know from the NDC. Is it a big man to be saying something like this, to just for a lay people to learn something from the big men?
Okay. I understand where you're saying. I understand where you're coming from, my brother. Thanks for your comments. Right. Good. Did you hear that?
Yeah, I heard that. I mean, that is a good question. And one thing, this man is not just an agent of provocateur, but well, I will not say those things, but he has proven that indeed he can torpedo a government. He can
Give me some of the instances.
I mean, look at the things that he has said in the past. and not only that, if you, these things can incite people. Government, they can incite people, not even himself. Because for saying that, we have supporters all over. You are an official of the largest opposition party, and you are telling Ghanaians that we will have to do coup d'etat.
Right, okay.
Why do you say those things?
Somebody's on air now. Good afternoon, sir, and welcome.
Stop this.
Your name and where you're calling from, sir? Good afternoon, sir.
Yes, I'm Evans Bayo, calling from Upper West.
Very well. Very well. Sir, you're on air and you're statement, sir.
Yes, please, I just want to ask if this is the first time such comments are made in Ghana.
This is the first time.
The first time such comments are made in Ghana.
I'm sure your signals from the television set is actually interfering with your communication with us. If you could lower it down, then you can come clear, please. Oh, I lost him.
Yeah, Kwame, what I'm saying.
He's asking whether he's...
I mean, in the 4th Republican Constitution,
yes,
this is the first time anybody... No, please, let me talk. This is the first time anybody has categorically said that we should have a coup to overthrow a constitutional regime. All others were statements that were not palatable.
All right, okay.
But this particular one is criminal in nature.
Somebody is on air on phone now and wants to be part of the statement. And the conversation. Good afternoon, and you're welcome, sir.
Good afternoon. My name is Albert, calling from Manet.
You calling from where, sir?
Albert, calling from Manet.
Right. Okay. So go ahead, sir.
Okay. What I want to say is that, you know, we are all Ghanaians, and someone like me, even though I don't have work, but I have to eat every day, and like I have to support some party or something like that for maybe from my own the way I see good things or bad things. But talking about this thing, the NDC people should maybe accept the fact that maybe the person made a wrong statement or something like that. That they should maybe like say something that it will change the mind of some people in Ghana. Because maybe I will hear something like this and maybe I will decide to take action by myself, not thinking of maybe the other people. And it's like if they sit on television, defend something that is bad and make good things look like it is bad in the eyes of Ghanaians, criticizing everything that MPP is doing, saying a lot of things that will make people feel like, oh, even though the government may do something that is wrong or something that is not correct in their eyes, but they should like rather see things like we are moving Ghana forward, so everybody should like put hands together, support what the movement is, and let's make Ghana better for ourselves. But they are making everything look like as if like we don't know nothing. I'm sitting here watching you and they are arguing on something that they shouldn't argue on. They should just understand and make us understand the reality in life and give us the I don't know how to say it, but give us the vim to do what is right, or
right, okay.
to be good citizens.
Okay, thank you very much for your statement. Well, good morning, Mr. Host. The guy seated to your left is something else in human skin. My goodness, his level of hypocrisy as if morals no longer count. What Koku said was unacceptable under any circumstance. Please tell the NDC that hypocrisy is gradually becoming their collective blood group. H positive. The NDC should be serious. My name is Enoch Edu. Well, Enoch is just being something else. Enoch, you also being truthful.
Yeah. So let me now conclude. So let me now conclude. I am saying, with all honesty, that what the police did to me
was a joke.
They should have measured it well, because this is a treasonable offense. Well, and therefore, this guy should have been handcuffed.
Back to the police. And he should have not even been given a bail. He should have not been they should not have given him a bail at all. Until the resolution of the matter.
I see, I understand that. Well, without you, welcome, sir. Your name and where you're calling from?
Good afternoon.
Your name and where you're calling from, sir?
My name is Liberty from Tessenungwa.
Very well. My brother, you're on air, sir. My
name is Liberty.
Liberty. You're on air. Your contribution, sir. Liberty.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
The 1972 Constitution wasn't
so you should call again.
No, Liberty, I think you can just cut off and then call again, so you can make. I'm
landing. I'm saying that you said Kennedy Japan made those statements. NPP also came out. If you remember, Jake and distanced itself.
Yes,
we never supported Kennedy Japan until his rights were violated. You remember, we had to even go to the High Court on habeas corpus. Yes. You remember?
I do.
And because we believe his rights were violated, the 48 hours, given for charge, liberty and submission, were violated.
Right, Liberty is back on,
and that was the reason why we held him.
Guys, Liberty is back online again. Let us listen to him. Liberty. Oh my goodness, I don't know what's happening. It's like Okay. Well,
Mami.
No.
He said we're going to return.
No, I'm coming. We've been listening to these statements and the kind of messages. You know, it's not clear that Ghanaians know that this is a tactics. And that's how politicians behave. So I'm also getting worried that you and I may think so, but that's not the way they see. You saw the extremist view of Sakasalia on this matter.
Yes. Well, when we even get to the other subject of the signing of the Ghana-US agreement, you would know that it is also part of control of power.
Okay.
How to wrestle it from the government and so on and so forth. That's all. Or that's the reason why we are having these agitations.
Right. Okay.
So it is a selfish tactics, and
liberty is back, isn't it?
Between and.
All right. Okay. Let me take this call and I'll come back. Good afternoon and welcome, sir. Good afternoon, sir. I'm losing all my guys when they come online.
So you see, when we know better, we will do better.
Right.
When we the citizens of Ghana, those of us who go and queue and vote for NDC and NPP, that have a way of hiding knowledge, information, truth about the development of this country. They are experts. But let's listen to them. When they accuse each other, that is where we'll be able to read in between the lines, assuming that we are not activists, to know what they are.
My caller is back on the line and wants to contribute. Good afternoon and welcome, sir. Good afternoon and welcome, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Right, your name and where you're calling from, sir?
My name is Maxwell.
Maxwell, where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Kominya.
Very well. Maxwell, you're on air. Your opinion, sir?
Yes. I think the politicians in Ghana here, they are trying to play with our minds, NCT time, we had, what is his name? King Japan talking about this treason thing, and today it's Koku Anyidoho. What are the politicians trying to tell us? Okay? I will use this platform to tell them to stop. Because we the Ghanaians, we don't want to share blood, right? I believe you, the host, you also don't want to share blood, right?
That is so.
So it's about time we put them on the right channel.
All right, okay.
To stop playing with our minds.
All right, okay.
If not, I believe Ghana will leave without even a president.
Right, okay.
I think that's what we are looking for.
Thank you very much for your statement, sir.
So please, let them know.
Right, I understand that. Yeah, they've heard you and I'm like.
Now, let me use part of Koku Anyidoho's treasonable statement to
that's the allegation.
Whatever.
It's right knowledge.
To make my concluding point. He said history has a special way of repeating itself.
An interesting
way of repeating itself. Is history not repeating itself, Kwame? NDC, NPP statements, can't you see it?
Okay.
Can't you see it?
Understand where you're coming.
Listen to them carefully.
But this one was asking for overthrow of the government.
I'm going to move to the next topic, which is the demonstration.
Which is serious than all others.
No, yes, I'm saying I'm going to talk about the demonstration.
History has an interesting way of repeating itself.
And that's exactly what it is.
And you see it in the next topic.
Well, so let me just move on to talking about the demonstration which hit Accra, the day before yesterday, and which culminated into this whole statement, which today has been described as treasonable. Now, let me just go back. It's about the American-Ghana military pact. Now, it has become clear that the U.S. Let me start with this. The U.S. actually has asked for bases in this country. Initially, that was not the statement. Initially, the impression was that it was going to be some on and off, as it were, exercises, training programs, and all that. But it's clear now that they're really going to establish.
Where is it clear that they're asking for bases?
That is exactly the point. If
you
know the pact.
Check the agreement.
Check the agreement, please. There is no way.
So tell us what the nature of
yes.
So tell us.
So the premise you are coming from is wrong. Is wrong.
Okay, so tell me.
Number one, the U.S. is not asking for bases.
Right. What's
They're asking for facilities.
And areas.
Please.
Oh, wait, let him finish.
They are asking for facilities.
Yes.
About 3 facilities.
Right.
One, the runway around the Koku International Airport, the Air Force base, and the where they will park the planes and all that. And they even say that they will tune it, they will alter it.
They'll fashion it to
suit their taste.
To do what?
For the purposes of the training and the cooperation that they want to come.
So they'll leave it there and go back to the US.
Yes,
they'll leave it there.
Yes, when they're going, they will leave it for us.
I'm saying that starting from today, when they put it together, the facilities, when they put it together, are they going to leave it unmanned?
No, they will leave it
unmanned
for us.
No, I'm saying that not at the exit point. I'm talking about when the park is operational. Are they going to leave the facilities unmanned?
Oh, of course, there will be people to.
So it's a base.
No, it's not a base.
In fact, and that is
please. When you see,
I know
technically,
yes.
When you say a military base, it's not just the English word base.
What is it?
A military base means that that is where they are going to station. That is where they are going to have their armory. That's where they are going to have all the weapons. Even they will build. It's just like going to be like a barracks. You have recreational centers, hospitals, and all that. That is a base where they can set off and attack another jurisdiction or whatever.
Right.
You see, this one, it is not a base. I mean, Koku International Airport, they are asking for a runway to engage in this training exercise. Then how can we call that a US base? It is not a base. It is a facility that we are giving to them for the purpose of the cooperation.
The training.
And they are not going to use it for any other purpose other than the training.
Right.
You understand? Right. And this whole thing.
And this is the point from which they're going to use for the exercises.
For the exercise. And the exercise is going to benefit both. It's going to be symbiosis, like we said last week. It's going to benefit both Ghana and the US and the US. Bear in mind, I mean, mind you, this is I've heard 20 million being bandied around and all that. The US, they are not saying they are giving us to 20 million. The cost of the training for a year will be $20 million. They are not going to give us $20 million to put in our pockets.
Why is it critical that we need this training?
You see,
why is it critical?
It is critical. We need this training because we are not an island.
Okay.
We are a community within the world, and therefore we need to, have cooperation between bilateral cooperations.
Right.
Especially with a powerful nation that have technology and other knowledge in modern trend of combating terrorism, disaster, etc. And therefore, even the use of some of these weapons, we don't even know. We have never even seen some of them.
We'll bring them down.
And therefore, they will bring all these things here.
They'll bring the weapons down.
For us to see and for our military to engage in those training and all that. And in doing so, they are asking that, okay, we will bring all these facilities, the cars, the machines, the weapons and all those things here. But you will waiver the taxes that you normally give to other people who are not, who otherwise would have been charged. For this mission, we want you to waiver. There is nothing wrong with that. They are also saying that, as usual, our Marines anywhere in the world, when they go, they don't use visa, they use ID card. And in this cooperation too, we want you to recognize their ID card. They are asking for immunity. If you look at the status of force, of which I have here. I'm coming.
Yes. Let's go through the things we say one after the other.
Yes.
So they're going to bring more than, say, 100 Marines, isn't it?
Of course, I mean, I'm sure. I don't know the number. I don't know the number, but it could be more.
And then where do you keep them? You don't call the place a base.
They can be stationed at even the United States Embassy. Do you know the number of Marines currently at the embassy?
But this time they're not satisfied with that. They want to come out of the place.
No, they want to bring people who come and do the training. Okay. Those here are for some other purposes.
Right, okay.
But they want to bring the ones that will come specifically. People, their contractors will also come here. And they are saying that those contractors that will come, they want to waiver some of these taxes.
All right, okay.
Because they will be working on their behalf. And therefore, they want them to also be part of the whole agreement.
Right.
Now, we talk of immunity. If you look at the status of force, of which the NDC signed in 1988, they talk about immunity and all those.
We all understand that.
And apart from even the immunity, all the others that we talk about, all the things that they are requesting for instance, I mean, let me take even Ghana for instance. When our soldiers went to South Sudan and had sexual knowledge with their ladies there, they were not subjected to the laws of South Sudan. They were subjected to the laws of Ghana. you get my point. So immunity and even Ghana defense attaches in Washington and New York and all those places.
That
they all enjoy immunity.
We all know that.
So if they are asking for immunity, there's nothing wrong with that. They are also saying that in case of death or by mistake, if you look at Article 15 of the agreement and all that, they waiver whatever damages that maybe if a United States Marine happened to kill a Ghanaian
in the course of the
operation, the Ghana government will waiver the damages. And if maybe a Ghanaian also killed the United States Marine, they will also waiver those damages and all those things. I don't think, because I mean, it's like, okay, let's all compromise. In the course of doing this thing, there can be mistakes.
All right, okay.
And when the mistakes happen,
when the Marine goes to
but they are also saying that, and the 15.2 is also saying A2. It's also saying that maybe if there is a third party, maybe the person is not a Ghanaian, he's not an American, but in the course of that, something happened to the person. They say that the United States law should be applied. This is what it means. Then our friends in NDC, who have also signed on to the acquisition of cross service agreement, says that because we didn't take ours to Parliament and you Ghanaians didn't know about it. Now we want Ghanaians to see MPP as being insensitive. Meanwhile, if these people had subjected their agreement to Parliament, Ghanaians would have known, would have seen all this and debated about it.
Okay.
That is the reason why I'm saying that all the things that they are saying, Ghanaians should see them for what they are. These are hypocrites. They went and did this matching or whatever that they call it.
You see,
on the basis of this agreement.
I've seen the agreement, but I just want to see its operationalization. That is what will ask for me to believe that, as it were, it actually fits into. We will not sign one thing and then see another thing completely. That is what that's.
There's not going to be anything. You see, people talk that it is one-sided. It is not one-sided.
Well, I hope that my producer.
This agreement is not one-sided.
I thought my producer was going to give me the demonstration.
We stand to benefit even more than the United States.
I'm coming. You take it. I want him to come in quickly. Will you come in quickly again to be able to answer the question?
When you look at the agreement, the 2018 agreement that you have signed, okay?
That Parliament has signed.
The one-sided Parliament, that's the MPP.
Please, just keep quiet.
And you know, we have even heard that $10,000 to each member who.
Can you imagine some of this?
That's what we have. $10,000
given to who?
MPs who.
No, we don't have that.
Can you imagine?
No, we don't have. No, yes. But such statements should not be made on the.
Can you imagine?
When you even doubt. Are these not the people? When PC and MP,
I'm saying that.
I'm saying that we've heard.
Okay,
so on the basis of PC appeal for when even they are
apologize for that.
Please, I'm saying that.
Yeah, I don't doubt.
He came and apologized.
Wherever you heard the statement,
that's
so you don't make it here.
That's just by the back.
Yes,
but you see, I'm saying that if you look at the Article 8
yes,
of the agreement, it's there. A base is there. I mean, for the MPP, what they are suggesting is that because they haven't mentioned a base, that's because they haven't mentioned a base.
I don't think it really matters. The question therefore is, is it mutual? You see, what that's very important. If it's mutual, whether it's going to be a base or it's not going to be a base, for me,
they say facilities and areas. That's what they are saying. Facilities and areas. And some of the facilities are joint, but there are some that are very exclusive to the use of the US.
So what is wrong with that?
Okay, and it's in the agreement. You read the Article 8, paragraph 2. You read it.
But you are saying you read
it here and create the impression. The point you are making, if you take the 2015 and 1998 agreement, what we haven't done in those agreements is that we haven't agreed to allow the US unfettered access to vital security installations of ours.
Okay, well said.
It's very important. Okay, we haven't allowed but I've just started. You had all the time. We haven't allowed the US. Okay, any permit that whatever they import or export, we are not allowed to inspect. Do you know what they are bringing? Do you know what they are taking away? But that is what we have done in the agreement. Okay, why shouldn't you be interested? And I'm saying that if you take that thing away, go to Kenya.
My producer will be playing the matches, the demonstrations on air as we speak. Okay, so
Kenya has signed the same agreement.
It is not the same.
And I'm saying that similar. Thank you. And I'm saying that see, the U.S. forces are subject to Kenyan laws. Okay, Kenya has signed the agreement. The only country, and the forces are subject to Kenyan laws. So what is different?
You can see the demonstrations. You can see the demonstrations which were in aid of the
mortgage.
No, you call it mortgage. Well, we have it.
But that's what it is, to be honest. And I'm saying that. Our government and President Akufo-Addo should have been doing something similar to what the Kenyans did. You know why? You see, if you have such a situation, okay, and already we have signed a non-surrender treaty with the United States of America, that if we have arrested any U.S. citizen in this country for war crime, genocide, crime against humanity, we cannot try them in this land. President Kufuor signed an agreement in 2007 with them. Why should we be making it much better to the U.S. of A? And I'm saying that that agreement, if we present that agreement to the U.S., would they be able to append their signature?
But you should understand why.
You see, so we shouldn't be so much interested in placing them, and that brings home the point. The MPP that told Ghanaians that they were bringing a change. You granted that.
I didn't want to go on.
The promise change. That the NDC was engaging a lot of unhelpful things. So if you are coming in, you should be doing something different from what
let me listen to this one before you go.
Why you had the first shot?
No, I didn't. No, listen.
Let me
had the first shot.
Excuse me. I didn't have any first shot. Please stop it. Listen. Stop it. History has an interesting way of repeating itself.
Yes. And that was your concluding remarks.
Remember,
that was respect to Anyidoho's statement.
Remember Gitmo 2?
Yes.
Gitmo 2. The NPP, they said,
the 98 one.
The NPP promised Ghanaians that if they won the 2016 elections, they were going to send Gitmo 2 back to where they came from. Not so.
No, we never promised that.
Why?
Can you tell us where we
you're interjecting too much.
I'm here.
That's why NPP.
I am here. So
it's today, Easter Friday.
Thankfully, I don't belong to NDC or NPP. I belong to PPP. So please, excuse me. NPP promised that they were going to send Gitmo 2 back.
Right.
Asedun Ketia.
Wait, you make a statement.
Asedun Ketia, General Secretary of the NDC, has promised Ghanaians that if the NPP passes this agreement, when they come to power in 2020, they are going to cancel it.
Kwame. No, not cancel. There are portions. You see, you are taking the General Secretary out of context. Those issues I was raising, the unfettered access, the immunity, why do you cancel
your You guys are making statements as if, as Africans, we even have what we call sovereignty.
That is another debate.
That's another debate.
That's another matter.
I see.
But I'm saying
that's a different debate. Oh, I see.
Can I explain?
That's another matter.
Yes. You see, these two parties are dishonest. They are so dishonest.
You are just being on.
We are not.
The NDC
send the message to the people
is demonstrating.
Yes.
Simply because they are not the ones in charge. If they were the ones in charge,
they would have kept quiet.
They would have kept quiet.
We have signed agreement now, and those.
And why didn't you bring it to Parliament?
The NPP is supporting it. The NPP is supporting it because they are in charge. Now, if you take a step back, decades back,
really, are you saying you are not happy?
Decided,
you are happy?
Please allow me to be sure of I'm not happy with your interjection. I don't like your NPP.
He says that someone just sent me a message. He says that I'm being biased because I interject against the NDC guy. But I don't know. Someone says I'm being biased, but I don't know that.
I'm just the value is the same.
Well,
I'm saying that Ghanaians, we decided to be non-aligned many years ago. All right, but we did it intelligently. We did not want to follow the USSR. We did not want to follow the US. But do you know that we got the money from the US to build Akosombo Dam, and we also signed a secret pact for protection in the earlier years of independence, and that we had Russian military support and all that. You want to ask Mr. Rawlings why he secretly signed the first agreement with the US,
the 98 one,
and you want to ask President Mahama. You want to ask President Mahama why he allowed Hanatete to sign the 2015 one secretly. And you want to ask the NPP.
That's secret about this agreement.
And you want to ask the NPP why they don't want to sign this as a secret arrangement.
But Kwame,
our own is not secret. We brought it to Parliament.
It was because of the Gitmo.
How do you call it secret when we brought it to Parliament?
It's because you had signed it because of the Gitmo rule.
Now you're talking to yourself. You're not talking to.
If you really prioritize the security of your nation, all right. If you really prioritize the security of your nation, you don't need to go and put everything out there in the public domain.
Really?
But I mean, that's what our constitution says. Supreme Court ruling or not. All right. Now, it is the hypocrisy of the NDC that is pushing us to this point. Otherwise, we will take this agreement, look at it line by line, and make our honest objections in terms of sovereignty and so on and so forth. Compare Ghana to the US. The weights, the resources, the influences, and so on and so forth. Well, for me, the only concern I have about this is that, the US has a lot of enemies all over the world because of their posture. And so, if you want to openly engage the US in such agreements, where they'll come and use your nation as a base to attack other nations,
when they use some facilities,
I'm not interested. I'm not interested.
You are introducing your own things into the agreement.
Now, what is the MPP man saying? I don't think he understands what he and the Americans are looking for. Who tells him that the Americans would willingly pull out if they are not kicked? We are joking with fire that would be too late and too huge to control. If all these things are not to benefit them, why wouldn't they just remain in their country? Ghana be wise, some says from Accra. I'm Daniel from Accra Newtown. Please tell the MPP man to stop with politics and be very serious about this situation. But we like our country. How is it that we are being in it without American army? Well, after reading the Kenya-US military agreement, you become very sad as a Ghanaian. Our own agreement with the US looks so bad. Whether it is a base or not, the agreement is very bad for Ghana. It lacks national interest. May God help Ghana. Please tell the NPP guy that it is Ghana police officers, not soldiers, who have misconducted themselves at Sudan. Okay. Gansaka Saleh substantiated his submission with fact. Mr. Hus, anytime you ask him, for example, he says things Koku said in the past. Viewers want to be educated and not the yelling that is going on in the studio. The CPP man is calm in his delivery. The others in there should look for examples and give the viewers. Dr. B says that this cooperation part agreement would make US take over our treasures away and also allow US to bring any crazy militants in Ghana without Ghanaians access to them. And also the coalition between Ghana and the US Army is a flood to Ghana as a country. Kwame, let Sakasala know that the cabinet memo that was sent to Parliament by his government stated that the previous agreement has expired and that their own is an enhanced one. So I don't understand why they always want to do a comparison in the previous one and by this assuming that the previous ones were not good and was full of rotten goose. Does it mean they should also follow the rotten goose? Harry B says that from time. Yes, good afternoon, panelists. I'm enjoying your show. Please, NPP should read over the agreement and also read the meaning of sovereignty. They're really confusing Ghanaians. Is Ghana dying in any need of the so-called military training? To my summary of sovereignty, the right of self-government without interference from outside. This implies that laws should govern a country, make it unique from others, etc., etc. He goes on and says so. Well, so that is what is coming
precisely. But
I'm going to cut from now.
Yes,
I'm going to cut from now.
Okay.
So a test comment, and then I fly out of this.
Good. I'm not sure that this is about taking away our sovereignty necessarily.
Right.
It is the fact that the NDC and NPP people have, over the years, not been truthful and honest to the people of Ghana. If you compare us in terms of strength and all that to the US, we would be compromised if we are not careful. Because the US has enemies that will go after anybody who is friends to the US. That is what we should be cautious about.
I think that because of the anti-US sentiment, people don't want to even look at and analyze those articles in the agreement. Because if you take the article by article and you sit down with the NDC, they fall flat. They don't even understand all the things that they are talking about. Let me tell you, if you are talking about immunity and all those things, yes, they have what they call the Foreign Corrupt Acts. When even a U.S. company or diplomat,
we all know that,
and they do not. Look, even the UK. You remember the Mabel and Johnson case? The crime was committed here, but they took them to the UK and tried them and all.
And the Cotton case.
So you understand? These are some of the things that they do, and now they are saying that we should just give them immunity, and which we also enjoy and all that. So if we look at this agreement, Ghana will benefit even more than the United States.
All right, okay.
Yeah,
a quick one, and you take me home here.
I'm making the point that Kenya has signed the same agreement, similar agreement with the US. In fact, the forces of US are subject to Kenyan laws, and that is one of the key things we asked for and still asking. That must be included in the agreement. And you see, government is not just elected to do anything, but to think and act in the interest of the people of this country. Well, but finally, I just throwing a caution to the police. Something happened that during the demonstration, media men were attacked, innocent people were attacked. It's not a good development.
People were pleading the police, and you are here condemning them.
That we are working hand in hand.
We
are attacking.
We to car power.
We have reduced the tariff. Guys, and we are going to enjoy the stuff.
That is not on the table here. That is not, no, but I say it's not on the table yet. So, Mr. Sakasalia, member NPP communication team.
We have reduced the tariff.
Mr. William Doe, member PPP communication team.
Not true.
And then Mauli Koku Nanigbe. Mauli Koku Nanigbe.
The amount of money will be paid.
Gentlemen.
It's much more than the reduction of the tariff.
And we are coming from HFO.
Is that true?
Listen. I know that you want. I know you want to mix. I know you want to make statements. I know you want to make statements. But you see, it's. Let me just say this. I should have discussed the power deal. Unfortunately, time will not allow me to do that. So next time when we come at the same time, we'll find a way to have this discussion. But thank you very much for coming, and I wish you a happy Easter. Please, next week, same time. I know that you've enjoyed every bit of this program, however noisy it has been. See you the same time again. I would expect you next week. Bye-bye.
In our case, there is nothing wrong with the truth.
That without loyalty, no political party will come into his enemies into office.
I see.
If we're going to kill it, we should let people realize that certain things are not acceptable anymore.
How would you kill it?